You know, the stories are always fascinating, the crimes, but what brings me back to it over and over again are the characters. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about developing those characters throughout the 6 seasons, both Bones and Booth, but also all the other characters. You just kind of fall in love with them.
Yeah. I asked David which show he wanted to show tonight, and David picked this one. And it was a good choice because almost everybody gets a little featured bit. I think, you know, you'll kill leads on a series if they don't have good secondary characters to go to, so that, you know, David can get a day off once every few weeks, and Emily can get a day off, not when you're directing. It's funny to think of David doing all that running and stuff, and then running behind the camera again, and he runs too. He runs everywhere. I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, the character. I was thinking of David running. The first time I saw David run was when they were buried alive.
Alien.
Remember when you had to run across that whole quarry to go?
I remember, yeah.
Still a favorite
My
scene.
leg, yes, remember too.
He can really run. It's like that's a lot of guy running really fast.
There we go.
But you know, a show like that, I wonder when people haven't seen the show before, if they tune into these characters, what that Sweets and Booth have a strange big brother little brother relationship, and that Hodgins would be the guy who would be totally happy that the gravedigger got killed, and Max, the recurring vision, Max character of Max showing up. That's also appealing to us who work on the show. You want to say anything about your?
Yeah, talk about developing Booth over the.
Yeah.
Well, Booth originally, when I read the script, I wasn't in the bathtub, by the way. Earlier with your friend Rob Thomas read the spec script, and he was in the bathtub. The first script I read from Hart Hanson, I was on my bed.
Oh man, this is going well.
And I just finished. Well, it was Buffy and then Angel, and then I took a year off, and I did a couple independent films, and then I was at a deal over at ABC for a show that we developed called Pros and Cons. I think it was Pros. No, it was Hitman for Hire. That didn't go anywhere, and then pilot season rolled around, and then there was a pilot that was just called Pros and Cons for ABC, and then I read Hart's script, and what drew me to it instantly was the characters, the relationship between the two of them. And it was like instantly like Romancing the Stone meets a little moonlighting. You could actually feel the stories develop in my head. So it just totally pulled me in on that level. So for me, this was a character piece, and I thought it was, hey, it's kind of like a co-star. I don't do much, just hang back and say a couple things, take some time off a little bit. But it blossomed, and from day one with the pilot, I was working with the acting coach by the name of Ivan Chubbuck, who works very much with character development. So it was important for us to establish something different than the regular FBI guy, and I felt that was a necessary component to have in a series like this, to launch a series. And I remember bringing in socks, ties, belt buckle, the props, which were very heavily debated in the pilot. I remember at a crime scene, and we were establishing the body being washed up on the shore, which looked pretty amazing. I wanted to wear like a Washington Capitals hat or something. I wanted to show up not your average guy, and Barry was like, listen, we have to establish the character. We have to establish the series, David. After we do that, you can do whatever you would like. So I took that in, and I didn't really listen.
There's a shot.
I always wanted to push the envelope and make it more than what it was on the table. I mean, there were beginnings of the season when we got picked up where I was bouncing the Super Bowl around in an interrogation room, and it made no sense. But for my character, it did. And either it stuck or it didn't, but I was always constantly challenging the dynamics of the character, what he would do and what he would bring. And things worked, things didn't. And what was always important for me was the relationship with her. And Emily got on board with our coach, and we developed a really strong bond that the two of us always had going into each episode. And there was a trust level that was developed. And what is seen in the screen that the two of us are thinking no one else really knows, but it translates into sexual chemistry, conflict, humor. And if you could only read the subtext, I can't tell you what it was, but it worked.
I think they got it. Originally, the character of Booth was going to be in, I forget how many, but it wasn't every episode.
No, it wasn't.
The original design of the series, and then David came in, and we cast Emily. David read with all the actresses who I can speak. I really can.
It's been a long day.
It's okay.
You got an award.
On the best of days, really, I can't speak. We were going through the auditioning process, and there was one of those moments you can't forget at the network testing. Where
we had an actress.
When David says we had an actress in mind, he had someone he wanted to play the part. Then it wasn't Emily, and in came Emily to read with David at the network, and it's a great story. It's a room not unlike this, where 4 actors have to come in and read for the head of the network and the head of casting and the head of it's a nightmare.
Why is it so poor?
Why is it so poor?
Why is it so bad?
It's easy for you. You were like in the room with us. You were one of the people that had to come in and.
It's a daunting process.
It's daunting.
Yeah,
that's a good word.
But it's fun.
It's not fun. No, people throw up and they go insane.
I have not experienced that.
Barry and I took one actress to the studio, and she decided, out of no poor human person, she decided to do it with an accent. She just, remember that? It was just like, and that was it. That was it. But the moment I'm talking about is that David, who is David's imposing, stepped toward Emily, and I know what he was doing. He was trying to make her, flinch so that the actor he wanted.
No. Wait a second. No, it's not true.
This is a good story.
All right, I'll go with you on it. All right. Yeah, I was very imposing.
He stepped toward Emily, and Emily stepped toward him. And it was like that scene in Fat Man and Little Boy where the plutonium catches and kills John Cusack. It was a classic. And we knew we had a series. And Emily got the job in that second. She was, I don't mind saying, she was certainly me and Barry's first choice. We were nuts about her. And it was David got it in that second, too. Because when she left the room, you said, that's our girl. And it wasn't your turn to talk.
That's true. But you had to go and tell the other girl that she didn't get the job.
Yeah. Oh. It was easy. I went to her and said, David really screwed you up.
I know. You did, didn't you?
No, I did.
Let's open it to the audience. Yep.
You talked about the sexual tension and all, and I'm really interested by that because of how long the series has run now, and it gets to the edge and then it breaks apart again. How difficult is that to sustain? Because like with Moonlighting, when you already connected to that, once they did come together, the series kind of circled. So how do y'all, as writer and director and actor, keep that?
Well, yeah, that's a great